Hey, good morning and welcome back to part 3 of this morning manna. Yesterday we talked about our posture in our apparent brokenness. Today, we're going to talk about an alternative view of our brokenness. And we're going to do that through the illustration of making a samurai sword. The process starts in a furnace made of clay. The furnace master builds this furnace and begins to slowly and surely place in iron ore powder and charcoal to smelt this metal into usable metal for the sword. For 3 days, 3 nights, he doesn't sleep, but tirelessly in this hot environment looks over the process of making the metal. He constantly checks. He checks for the sound. He checks for the look. And after 3 days, usually about the morning of the 4th day, he'll determine that the metal is ready to be released from the furnace. And the furnace is torn apart. It's taken out of the hot coals and then it's presented. Once it's cooled, he then inspects it to see which parts are the best parts to be used for making a sword. He takes those pieces, those best pieces, those premium pieces, and he sends them to the master swordsmith. This master swordsmith then looks at all these pieces of metal and he finds the ones that have very little carbon on the surface, that are the perfect texture, that are the perfect color. And then he takes those pieces and once again, he puts them into the furnace. He puts them in the furnace so that they're mendable, and he flattens all those pieces. Once all those pieces are flattened, each one comes out and it is quenched very quickly in the water, and it's laid to the side while the other ones are done. Once all those pieces are complete, he then takes those pieces again and he bangs them with the hammer against the anvil to break them, to determine whether they're soft or hard. You see, he breaks them to determine their character. How many of you know that it's in our brokenness where our character is revealed? See, once those pieces are formed and we know whether they're soft or hard, he then puts them together in like a little puzzle piece, a little square rectangle full of all hard pieces and all soft pieces. The hard pieces are forged together again in the furnace. The soft pieces are forged together in the furnace. They're forged together, they're folded over many times to form these separate layers of a very intricate metal. Then those two pieces are combined, elongated to make the sword. The process of going into the furnace, coming out, being banged by metal, this hot metal banged out to form the sword, you would think it's all done. It's shaped, it's got the form that he wants, and then he quickly quenches it. The quenching process forms the curvature that would be the shape of the sword. And once it's quenched, then he begins to scrape it to get the final shape finally done. Once that shape is complete, he then takes a special mixture of clay and ashes, his own proprietary blend, to put his fingerprint onto the sword. That's called the patina. And the swordsmith is known for his particular patina. Once that patina is completed, once he's drawn that on there, he puts it back in the fire where it will stay on the sword forever. Once that's completed, it's sent to a polisher, where the polisher rubs it on increasing grits of stone until it's very, very shiny. And then the sharpener takes it and puts that final edge on there. You see, it's iron that sharpens the iron, that makes it into the samurai sword. I don't know about you, but that better describes my life than just being a clay vessel. I know that God has formed me and forged me into a weapon. My trials, my brokenness, being placed in the heat of the battle, being brought out, being beaten, being broken, have shaped me for service to Him. I am a weapon for the kingdom. Maybe you are a vessel. Maybe you are that clay vessel we talked about, but you are not meant just to be on a shelf, but you're meant to be used in the kingdom. Ephesians 2 verse 10 tells us that we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. God has created each and every one of us on purpose, for a purpose. And whatever your purpose is, I pray that you walk in it. Through the trials, through the storms of life, lift Him up in praise because He has a purpose for you. God bless you guys, and I hope you live out your purpose in Christ.